After deciding against paying for one Benfica player, Chelsea have gone and signed a former Benfica player in João Félix in order to help them with their stuttering season. That sees them sitting in 10th in the Premier League. Hey, I'm Adrian and welcome to Rabona TV. As a Benfica supporter and a big João Félix fan who watches him all the time, I figured I'd drop my thoughts on his loan move to Chelsea, why things out at Atleti, his strengths and weaknesses, the best way to deploy him, and more. After thriving at Benfica, Felix left for Atletico Madrid, where plenty of Benfica supporters were nervous about the move. Why? Because not too many attacking players have thrived under Simeone in recent years. By recent, I mean the last 5 or so years, where Antoine Griezmann has been the exception to the rule, really. In fact, in a recent video I did about João Félix and why he must leave Atletico Madrid, I went over all of this. There has been a sick cocktail of injuries. I mean, the guy played for a few months with a broken foot and we didn't even know about it. There was a massive falling out with Simeone to the point where even the president of Atletico admitted that the two don't have a relationship, as well as some behavior issues from Felix himself, where he definitely could have dealt with situations much better than he did. I do think that João Félix was dealt with quite poorly by Simeone himself, and in turn, he was met with unjust criticism from Atleti supporters as well. I feel for the kid, as that 126 million euro fee that was paid for him, I mean, you're simply setting him up for failure, as most ridiculous fees do, as most players will never really live up to the price tag like that. Or sorry, let me say that again. As most attackers at Atletico Madrid won't live up to a price tag like that under Diego Simeone. As I highlighted in my previous video about João Félix, attacking performance has gotten worse and worse as years have gone on under Diego Simeone across the board. By the way, not just João Félix, and here's an excerpt. For a while it was working at Atleti, but like most attackers at Atleti these last 3 to 4 years, the good performances never last. When you look at Atleti over the years, they never have a player that is competing for the golden boot. That's just not how things pan out under Simeone anymore. This isn't hate for Simeone, this is just a fact. Across all competitions, João finished second in scoring in his first season, the 2019-20 season. In his second season, third, which was also the season where an Atleti attacker broke the 20-goal ceiling, that being Luis Suarez, with 21 goals across all competitions. The first Atleti attacker to do so since Griezmann scored 21 during the 18-19 season. By the way, the last time an Atleti player scored 30-plus goals, 15-16, a long time ago now, which was also Griezmann. Falcao and Diego Costa are the only other two who have managed that under Simeone in the past, but those numbers are going back 8, 9, soon to be 10 years now. And they're strikers. But anyway, João Félix has always consistently finished second or third in Atleti scoring, despite consistently getting fewer minutes than those around him, most often due to injury, but not this season. So he's by no means a perfect player or a perfect professional, but the cards that have been dealt, I mean, they've been stacked against him at Atleti. He isn't in a team where his skill set is valued. He had a bad spell of injury luck, and his relationship with the manager died completely. But when Felix is playing in the right system, he can be devastatingly good. I mean, even last season where he was in and out of the team, he was voted as the player of the season for Atletico because those moments of brilliance still shone through. One thing that often comes up that is incorrect is when people speak of his best position on the pitch, and oftentimes he's referred to as a winger or a striker. Both are wrong. Could he do a job on the left wing as an inverted winger? Sure, he could, given his speed and ability to run at opponents with the ball at his feet, but you aren't getting the best out of João Félix in that position. Similarly, could he do a job as a striker, finishing off attacking movements? Sure, again, given how he strikes the ball purely, very good at that, and he's surprisingly decent in the air, I guess you could throw him in there and see what happens. I mean, that's what Simeone has done at times with him when speaking of both positions, really, both on the wing and as a striker, but again, that's not where he's best. At Benfica, he played best as a second striker, shadowing Seferovic, running in the half spaces with or without the ball, taking on players with the ball at his feet. That's where João Félix is best suited to play, and he likes to drift wide to the left. You force him all the way wide, and you get a lukewarm, watered-down version of him. You play him as a sole striker, same outcome. But give him a free role playing off of the shoulder of the striker and drifting slightly to the left, and you get the best of João Félix. His vision is fantastic, and his ability to play a through ball is fantastic. His link-up play around the box is great, as he can absolutely operate in tight areas, both in the aforementioned link-up play or dribbling his way out of a problem. His trickery, coupled with his pace in his first few steps with his acceleration, makes him very difficult to deal with. I won't deny it at all, I love João Félix, but he is a very particular player in that he needs to be played in the right position, as we went over, in order for him to thrive. He needs to be involved with play as much as possible in order for him to be effective. Also, he strikes the ball really, really well. You will have noticed how much power and precision he can get into his strikes. You will have seen that for Atletico as well on a few occasions. He can leather it when given the space to do so. Simultaneously, he's an aerial threat in the box if the delivery is good enough. He's about 5'11" or so not the tallest, but by no means a short player either. And despite having a slight frame, he doesn't really get bullied off of the ball. So we know what position we want him playing, and we know he will give you speed and dribbling ability while on the ball. Well, he also has a high football IQ that leads to great vision, coupled with the ability to pick out his teammates as well. We haven't seen this as much as Atletico Madrid, but we saw it at Benfica, getting lots of assists. But we all know the reasons as to why he hasn't excelled at Atletico. Almost no attacker has, bar Antoine Griezmann, in the last 3 or 4 years. That said, with Atletico, you could point to the lack of consistency from João Félix as well, though in doing so, you need to acknowledge the context he was in for that lack of consistency. Playing at Atletico Madrid, for one, I mean, a team where attackers don't thrive anymore under Simeone, playing through injuries or injured a lot of the time, and beefing with the coach. So consistency could be seen as a weakness, whether that be in sloppy passes, poor finishing, and potentially some attitude issues. But we didn't see that at Benfica, only at Atletico in the last little while, once his relationship with Simeone had truly died. On top of that, he isn't going to contribute much defensively. He will press up the pitch, that's for sure, but don't expect him to track back very deep at all. That could be seen as another deficiency in his game, depending on the system he's playing in, though. It's certainly seen as a deficiency in Simeone's game. Given the price tag that has been attached to his name previously, it's easy to understand why going to a club like Chelsea, who are in a bit of turmoil at the moment, is a bit of a risk for Felix. Yes, it's only a loan, but the perception of him from many casuals who don't watch him regularly or ignore the context that has surrounded his time at Atletico is that he is simply an incredibly expensive flop that fooled the world in 2019. I promise you that isn't the case. And so when you take someone who already is viewed with a ton of scrutiny and then throw him into Chelsea's situation and expect him to thrive, essentially swapping one team where attackers have struggled over the years for another team where attackers have struggled over the years, you're asking a lot of someone. Chelsea have won just once in their previous 7 matches, with goals being an issue. But for me, it isn't necessarily the strikers that are the problem, but the chance generation and the seeming lack of a coherent game plan from Graham Potter at the moment. I don't really know what Chelsea's style is right now. Do you? Are they a counter-attacking team? Because if they are, they haven't been doing so effectively. Do they like to dominate the ball? I don't know. And with the way that they've been performing lately, I don't think that the players really know at the moment. I'd like to think that their supporters realize that Felix won't fix all of their problems in the attack, as in order to do so, they need some major help in the midfield as well, where they severely lack in creativity. So if Felix goes to Chelsea and struggles, that could really hurt his reputation even more amongst the casuals, and his stock could drop further. By the way, when I say casuals, I just mean people who don't actually watch João Félix. That's what I'm referring to. Second, Potter has been playing people out of position lately, and unfortunately, João Félix is limited in where he thrives. But when he can play as sort of that shadow striker, and he has the freedom to get on the ball and dictate play or run at players, he's going to do well, and he's certainly worthy of building your attack around, given the strengths he has in vision, passing, his ability to progress the ball through his dribbling on his own, and his finishing as well. But hey, it's just a loan, right? It's relatively low risk for both Felix and Chelsea, a trial run where if you like the partnership between player and club, maybe you can work something out with Atletico in the future. If you don't, then back to Atleti for Felix, where who knows, there may be a different manager taking over next season, if murmurs in the press about Simeone are to be believed. So I guess this is ultimately a wait and see type of transfer, isn't it? You never know, man. Felix could be that spark that gets everyone on side at Chelsea and helps to turn their season around. I would personally love to see that, because having seen him at Benfica and glimpses of his genius at Atletico, where he had to partner him as firing Morata for a while, by the way. Things haven't gone well for him, so hopefully my worries about this move will be washed away. I really thought that Arsenal would have been a better move for him, but 11 million loan fee? Yikes. Guys, thanks for watching. If you're new, be sure to subscribe, but other than that, I appreciate you coming by, and I hope this video was useful to you. I'm Adrian, this is Rabona TV, and we'll see you soon. Ciao.